Hello and welcome. I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to the pause. And this is a place where we together break the momentum of whatever it was that you were doing in your day, whatever came before, whatever's going to happen later. This is your pause, that in between things moment or a few moments. So as always, I invite you into this pause by getting really comfortable and being supported in that which is supporting you or on that which is supporting you, and really feeling into this moment, this place. As you settle into your seat, you can close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Take a few long, slow, deep breaths. This time, this moment, this pause doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be perfect. It's simply intentional. So we set up our space, set up ourselves to be here. You can notice the weight of your body. Feel into that seat as I mentioned before. And another slow breath in, slow breath out. And with every breath, just feel into that which is supporting you. Each exhale, you can settle a little more and release on any of that extra effort that you've been carrying. You know, one of the things I love most about these weekly pauses is that, they could be considered, I guess, a meditation, but they really aren't about meditation. They're about creating enough space to notice, enough space to be present, enough space for clarity to be found, enough space to notice something we might otherwise miss. And lots of times there's so much going on around us and so much our mind is occupied doing in relation to those things around us. But often when we're busy, we miss what's happening within us. I've been reflecting a lot this week on this idea of perspective. And perspective just not, solely in terms of how we see the world, but perspective on how we see ourselves. And I think that we spend so much of our lives looking outward or using the outer world to compare and contrast and make meaning of what is happening and what needs to be done. We see outside of us all of the things that are priorities or expectations, who needs us, the next responsibility, the next decision, the next email, the next appointment, on and on. And somewhere in that, we can lose sight of what's inside, who's inside, and maybe a bit about that person who's carrying all of that on her shoulders. Last week, you might recall, I was using this phrase, and it's one that I've used for a lot of years. And I've often used it to describe my natural strengths. I think I've even used this in job interviews. but it's that ability to kind of see the forest through the trees. And I would go as far as to say that seeing the forest through the trees is one of my superpowers. I can kind of see through the clutter, see through the busy, see through the detail, and kind of get to the other side quicker. In corporate world, we would say that I am very strategic. But I've been really sitting with these words, seeing the forest through the trees is my superpower, or as my superpower. And as I've done so, something else occurred to me. Maybe it isn't just my superpower, but maybe every one of us has their own unique way of seeing things, a unique perspective, a unique gift, something that comes to us naturally, but doesn't naturally come to someone else or everyone else. Maybe your gift is helping people feel that they're heard. Maybe you see possibilities where other people see obstacles. Maybe you're the person who brings calm into the room. Maybe you notice beauty. Maybe you ask thoughtful questions. Perhaps you make people laugh. Perhaps you organize chaos. We all have something. And the challenge is that stress has this remarkable way of covering all of that up. Not taking it away, just making it harder to access. So you can imagine standing beside a quiet lake when the water's calm and you can see your reflection clearly. You can see the sky, the trees, the clouds. Everything is reflected exactly as it is. But when the wind begins to blow or the water is stirred, well, that reflection becomes distorted. It disappears somewhat. But in reality, nothing about the landscape has changed. It's only the surface. The ripples create distorted perception. And our minds can be like that. Our minds are like that. When life becomes busy, when we're overwhelmed, when we are carrying a heavy stress load, our inner landscape hasn't really disappeared. Our wisdom hasn't really disappeared. Our strengths haven't disappeared. Our perspective hasn't disappeared. They simply become harder to see, maybe even harder to access. And that's why I believe so strongly that the pause matters. And not because it solves every problem. Often, they're right there when you get back to things. And not because it magically removes stress. It is not, a silver bullet or something that just, changes everything. Like I said, the to-dos, the problems might be there when you step back into the world. But what the pause does do is it allows then the water to settle. And when that water settles, that's when clarity returns. A perfect reflection on the surface of the lake becomes clear. And that doesn't always happen all at once, but it does happen, even little by little. And that's why this practice matters. Because each time you pause, whether it's here or on your own, it's so simple, right? You can do it anywhere. Just take a break, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, Really kind of notice or feel into yourself. Be supported in your seat. And one pause at a time, the surface evens out. The reflection becomes clearer. The perception shifts to that closer of what is real within you, in your heart. And so today I'd like you to reflect on something. And now I don't want you to try really hard. You don't need to grasp on this. I don't want you to search for what is like the perfect or the right answer. Just, invite into that space within. When do I feel most like myself? Not the version of you that's trying to keep everyone happy, not the version that's checking things off a list, not the version of you that's rushing, but the real you. The one who feels grounded, alive, present, authentic, whatever word you choose. You know that moment when you're just feeling most like yourself, your best self. What are you doing? Who are you with? How does that version of you move through the world? Maybe you have a picture of her in your mind, that picture that is perfectly reflected on that clear, smooth body of water. And then ask yourself, what helps that version of me to shine? Is it quiet? Is it nature? Is it movement? Is it time with the people you love? Maybe it's when you're feeling in the zone and very focused. Is it when you're creating, when you're serving, when you're learning, when you're teaching? There's no right or wrong answer. Whatever comes to you is perfect. And finally, ask yourself, what is it that clouds that part of me or creates those ripples? And not to judge it, simply to notice. Is it rushing around? Is it trying to do too much? Is it when one thing piles on top of the other? Maybe it's saying yes when you really mean no. Maybe it's the extra responsibilities or when the day doesn't go perfectly. When somebody says something, when somebody behaves a certain way, just notice. And this is not judgment. This is simply awareness. Awareness of what causes the ripples for you. And we are still in the pause here. So as you breathe in, I want you to imagine creating just a little more space. And as you breathe out, just release any of that extra effort or that tension or that feeling. Maybe if you were thinking about what creates the ripples, you could feel the agitation or the stress or the tension arise in you. So here in this place, as we breathe out, just let that ripple release. Let it smooth out a little bit. One breath, one moment at a time. These are not dramatic efforts. It's just enough. Now, I don't believe that our greatest strengths are necessarily the things we have to create or fit into the world. The way you shine is uniquely yours. It is within you, not something you have to make work in somebody else's or everybody else's day or plans or vision. I think more often our greatest strengths are the things that emerge or are uncovered or allowed to shine through. And they emerge, they are uncovered, they shine through every time we slow down, we let the ripples smooth out. And most importantly, we remember who we are. And that maybe is the best or most real gift of the pause. It's not about becoming something different or somebody different. It's not about escaping it all or catching a break. This is about returning to yourself. And so as we finish today, I want you to take one more comfortable breath. We'll do that together. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice the sounds around you. Notice your body. Notice your breath. A big inhale. A long, slow exhale. And I want you to remember that your unique perspective is one of your greatest gifts. Protect it, nurture it, and create enough calm so that it has room to shine. Because the world doesn't need another overwhelmed, busy, stressed out version of you or person. There's enough of those. You can look at everybody else running around and let them have it. Because the world needs the version of you that only you can be. And that can't emerge or shine through the ripples. Thank you for taking the time to pause with me today. And you can linger here as long as you want. Consider the questions, consider the feelings that come up without judgment, without trying to change everything or anything. Just pausing to let the ripples settle so that when you step back into the world, that beautiful, brilliant you will shine through. And I hope you can carry this clarity with you into the rest of your week. And until next time, my friends, I wish you a beautiful week. Take good care. Namaste.